Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. So welcome to the W.O.R.K.S show. And my name is Mark Anthony Clark, the My Impossible Man. And I'm here to tell you today that we're going to be having an exciting show this afternoon where we're going to be doing what I call, God, you know something, you know when you do these things for the first time, you've got it all in your head. But then what happens is you just totally go blank. So let's start again. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Mark, I am Possible Clark, and welcome to my Radio World Work show. And I'm your host today to help you to understand that you are possible. And this week, we're going to be using again from what I call my B.E.L.I.V.E system to doable success, if my mind stays in track, that is. And this week, we're going to be going through the letter E, which means empowerment, okay? Remember last week we took you through your doable success, starting with the letter B, where we looked at believe, okay? We looked at the word believe, where we looked at believe, then we looked at believing in yourself first and foremost. We looked at believing in your purpose, your dreams, your goals, what you want for success. We looked at believing in others, and we also looked at believing in a power greater than yourself at the end of the day, if that's what you sort of believe in, you know. So we covered those 4 principles of belief. And this week, with empowerment, we're going to cover 2 principles. Not 4, but 2 principles, okay? So remember again, like last time, that this is not, the first thing that we want to enter into is not about realizing you're great. It's not about realizing that you're phenomenal. You know, those things are true, people. Those things are true. And I welcome all of you who are joining me this afternoon as well. I just want to welcome all of our new regular listeners who are joining, who have Facebooked me and have said to me that they're going to come on this week's show. As you can see, we're not perfect, so I'm just getting on with it anyway, okay? So, like I said, with empowerment, we're going to look at the 2 principles. But again, let's do this little bit of affirmation, because remember, like I said before, it's not about being great. It's not about being phenomenal, because you're those things anyway. But I remember to like you to just remember that you have everything you need, guys. You have everything you need, right? So firstly, I want you to say that you have everything it takes inside of you to become the success you want to see. So after me, I am everything. I have everything that I need inside of me to become a success. Repeat after me. I have the power. I have the strength. I have the mind. I have the faith. I have the courage. I have the body. Again, I have everything I need inside of me to become the success I want to see. I have the power. I have the strength. Come on, people, you've got to believe this. You've got to believe this, because if you don't believe it, it won't happen. I have the mind. I have the faith. I have the courage. And I have the body. I am of love. I am of power. I am of sound mind. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Repeat after me again, guys. Come on, you've got to believe this thing. I am of love. I am of power. I am of sound mind. And I am fearfully, hear that word, fearfully and wonderfully made. You see, we have to have this belief inside of us, guys, because if we don't believe this, when the rest of the world isn't, we're not going to make it. And like I said before, you've got to remember, this is not about what to do externally. This is about what you have to do internally to become the success you want to see. And through the belief system of creating doable success, you'll be able to draw on these things with knowledge, okay? Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, but it is powerless unless it's used, okay? So I heard this morning, I heard somebody say, hear, learn, then implement. Do you see what I mean? So you have to implement these things to be the success you want to see, okay? Now remember, we're going to be talking about empowerment today and the 2 principles. So that's about empowering yourself and empowering others, because believe me, These principles matter when it comes to becoming a success in whatever you want to do in life. Whether it's you want to start a business, whether it's you want to make changes in your life to be a better person, to go for that job you never went for, go for that business you never went for, kick that guy out of the relationship that you don't want him, or that girl, to be empowered to step away from those things and change your life. These are the internal things you're going to need, guys, and you have it all. Can you say aye, aye? Aye, aye, good. And that's going out to everybody around the world. Okay, so remember this. Remember what we said? I am of love, I am of power, and I am of sound mind. Remember that bit. You are of power. Wow, that's amazing. You know, the Greek word power means dunamos, you know, to be explosive, to branch out, to break out, or to some Jamaicans, to bust out. Okay, so that means you are of power. That means you're explosive. You have impact. You know, you have discipline. You have it all inside of you. You are of power. You know, we have different energies that we use within our bodies. I mean, do you know that the neurokinetics in your brain can actually light a light bulb? Did you know that? You know, so at the end of the day, you got to realize that you have this power. But the thing about life, it can sometimes suck this power out of you. You know? So remember this about empowerment, okay? Because it can easily get mixed up or misinterpreted, okay, between motivation and encouragement, okay? It can get easily messed up between motivation and encouragement, okay? So what I want you to understand is what I believe. I believe that, remember, empowerment isn't about motivation or encouragement, okay? It's about the force or the power behind them. You see, because it works like a synergy, okay? When you have the power behind the motivation, when you have the power behind the encouragement, that's when you begin to move forward, okay, guys? So remember, the empowerment is the force or the power behind motivation and encouragement, and actually any kind of decision making, you know, in the positive or the negative. So, you know me, I always like to look up words to make sure I've got the meaning and so forth, okay? So just remember, empower, we're going to look at what empower means, okay? So empower means putting power into, you see what I mean? Putting power into motivation, into encouragement. And it can also mean bringing energy and enthusiasm out of something. Isn't that amazing when you actually understand words have meanings? So it's all about what you can give out or what you can take from to be empowered. Like right now, I'm empowering the hell out of you lot to change your lives and do what you need to do to be the success you want to see. That's why I bring the energy that I come to you guys. Because if I give you energy, I want you to suck up that energy and I want you to move forward, okay, guys? Because that's what it's all about. It's about having that encouragement, that empowerment, that motivation to do the things you need to do, okay? So that's like, you know, I remember there's a story that Jesus once was talking about, and there was a woman who was walking and she had some medical issues, okay? And when the woman reached out to him and she touched him, he felt the power go from him and she was healed. And at the end of the day, it's the same kind of thing. What I give out to you, I want you to take, so that by the time I'm finished, I'm powered out and you're powered up, okay, guys? So, okay. So I'm here to let you know that with empowerment, it allows you to take control of your life. It really does, you know. I remember when I was caught in addiction, you know, all of my power was taken from me. You know, there's a saying that we were powerless. I was powerless over my addiction. My addiction led me to a place where I had no control over my life, and my life was controlled by the drugs. And we can do that sometimes. We can give away our power sometimes to people. We can give away our power to things. We can give away our power to relationships that aren't going right, that are toxic. We can give our power away into places that we don't even want to be. You know, if you're sitting in a job that you do not want to be in, you are giving away your power, because that same power you take to get up and go somewhere you don't want to be, you can actually use that power to get up and be somewhere you want to be. Think about it. I bet you that one didn't cross your minds, did it, guys? But also remember, you know, it's about finding that power, gaining that power. You know, again, when I was back in addiction, some people used to say, if you took as much energy power as you did to get drugs and put it into becoming clean and free, you'd do it in no time. And I did. I did that, all that energy, all that focus, all that motivation to feed my habit. I took and I turned it around. You know, there's a saying, I can't remember who said it, but it was some great guy who turned around and said, where your focus goes, your energy, power flows. And that's what you have to do. You got to refocus it. You know, Steve Marbelli in the book written Life, the Truth and Being Free says this: incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control over what you don't have the power over, instead of craving control over what you don't. It's as simple as that, isn't it, guys? Really and truly. We give our power to so many things that we have no control over. And it depletes us of everything, you know. But here I am again to tell you guys, you know, there's the serenity prayer. And it says, forget the God bit for just a minute, okay? Forget the religious side of it. It says, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Accept the things I cannot change. That is taking back power. You know, for a long time in my life, as I told you guys before, I went through having a life in a family home where there was violence, where there was domestic violence towards me and my brothers, you know, and for years, and even over something that happened when I was sort of sexually abused by one of my family members. You know, for years I built up resentment. For a year I built up bitterness because my family didn't do anything back. For years I built up resentment because nobody would give me answers to why things were the way they were. And you know something? It wasn't until years ago, I mean, I think it was around 2000, when I first ever heard that serenity prayer. And it wasn't even the whole prayer. It wasn't even the whole prayer that sort of enlightened me and gave me a revelation, right, about my life, about the things I was holding on to. That little bit of revelation that said, accept the things you cannot change. Wow, it was just like a penny drop moment, guys. It was amazing. So all the stuff about my dad, all the stuff about the domestic violence and the way we got being, all the stuff about the sexual abuse, I couldn't do anything about it. And sometimes that's what you've got to realize. We give energy to things we can do nothing about. Nothing. But the thing about it is the people who do these things are just getting on with their lives anyway. And at some point, we're going to talk about how forgiveness plays a vital point in that. Okay, forgiving others. But we're not going to touch on that today. So my empowerment for me was to actually go, do you know what? I'm going to accept that I can't change my dad. I can't change what happened to me. But what I can change, what I can give power to, is my future. And man, I'm telling you, it felt like a load was lifted off of me, guys. A load was lifted off of me. So remember, it's what you empower. So if you're empowering the good things, if you're empowering the right things, you know, my favorite book says, think on what is right, think on what is true, think on what is praiseworthy, think on these things. When you think on these things, they empower you to do the things because you can see the good, you can see the truth, you can see the right in it. And when you start acting on those things, what happens? You become powerful, guys. Do you like my power t-shirt? This is my power t-shirt. You see, I'm empowered by myself, just be doing silly things like this because they're happy, guys. So remember, you have the power to take back your life. You know, that's how I empower people when they come on our drug and alcohol program. I show them this great big picture of a man standing on top of a mountain like that. Some of you may have seen it. He's just standing on top of a mountain like that. And this is the question I always ask them. What is it about that mountain? That man on the mountain? And they normally turn around and say, he's reached the mountain top. And I say, what's up top of the mountain? And they say to me, success. I say, no, there isn't. There's absolutely nothing up top of the mountain. What actually matters is the journey up. He's celebrating the journey that you make up, because each step that you take in your life that moves you up is an empowerment. It's an empowerment of succession. It's an empowerment of knowing you're succeeding. It's empowerment of success. It's a principle to know that you are prospering. You see, the spiritual side of prospering is looking at where you are to where you are now. That's also the principle of success in the spiritual world. Okay, it's about looking back at where you are, where you got, where you are, where you were, where you are, and where you're going now. So that's the empowerment in it all. It's that feeling that you get deep inside of you to get you going, guys. And that's what it's about when it comes to empowerment. So whatever it is that is going on in your life, guys, just take a look at it and ask yourself this question: am I giving away my power? Am I giving away power to something in my life where I'm getting nothing in return? Is it not feeding me to power me again? Ask yourself these questions, and these are hard questions to ask. And let me tell you this, guys, if you find out that there is nothing that's giving you the power back that you need, like encouragement and motivation and all the rest of it, get rid. Get rid. It's not beneficial. And I've had to do that in my life. I've had to do that, guys. When I was coming through my treatment, through rehabilitation, through being a staff member and all the rest of it, when I was on a journey to becoming the man that you see today, urban renaissance man, take that, okay, right? This is what I realized, that I need to let go of what is not beneficial and empower myself in the things that are, in the things I read, the things I look at, the people that I have around me. These are all your empowerment tools, okay? So when we're talking about self-empowerment, okay, it means taking control over our own life, you know? Basically, it means that we have to understand our strengths and our weaknesses. And remember, watch how this rolls into it, guys. And believe, didn't see that one coming, and the belief that you have in yourself. Do you see how it all works together? The believing in yourself leads to the empowerment of self. Leads to the empowerment of self. You know, I've got a really good friend who I think's listening now, and she was going through a time in her life where she was going through operations, she was going through relationships, she was going through a lot of things. And we were hashing it out together, backwards and forwards. And at the end of the day, none of us make a perfect journey, and we're learning by our mistakes. But you see this lady now, she is on form. Everything she puts up in her post, everything that she's doing, she's empowering herself. She's identifying who she is now. She's realizing that it is about her and her success, and not giving away her power to other people, not giving her away self to power into relationships that she doesn't really need at the end of the day. Now she's looking at herself, and she's got a high-paid job. She's getting through her operation and she's healing. And you better be sitting down and listening to this, I tell you. Right? She's doing that, and then what she's doing, she's empowering herself by looking into the future and realizing that it's all possible. Oh my God. She's realizing now that it's all possible. And it's so marvelous to see when people self-empower themselves. You know, I stalk on the WhatsApp page and it's got all this empowerment stuff. You know, I get texts and it's all this empowerment stuff. When she's down, she gets back up. She keeps it moving forward. And it's just amazing to work with this lady. It's absolutely amazing to see what she does, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what self-empowerment is about, okay? Roy T. Bennett said this: remember, in your infinite potential, believe in it. Believe in your infinite potential. Your only limitations are those you set on yourself. I'm going to read that again because somebody needs to write that down. Believing in your infinite potential. Believe in your infinite potential. Okay? Your only limitations are those you set upon yourself. Because you want to know why, guys? Only the body is limited. The mind is unlimited. And we know this. I'm sweating. This is a hot one today. It's unlimited. Your dreams, your desires, your goals are unlimited once you put the empowerment behind it. Okay? So right now, I'm going to give you the benefits of empowering yourself. The benefits. Because remember, guys, the most probable time, apart from coming and listening to great speakers like myself and the other great speakers that are out there in the Radio Works world, who are around the world, who are around the community, because that's one of our jobs, is to empower you to take the next step. Because if you don't take the first step, you never take the second. Put that on the blooper reel, darling. That Zig Ziglar said, if you don't take the first step, you'll never take the second. Okay, so we empower you to take those steps. I just want to tell you guys as well, when you're writing your notes in everything you do not bury the treasure in your handbag, in your briefcase, or in the corner of the room. Those bits that you write in your notes that make you feel empowered, use them. Use those bits of knowledge. Use those nuggets that you get to keep empowering you. Keep playing back this recording every morning if you like, because I'm sure I'll get you getting out of bed with what I've got to say. Okay, so I'm going to give you some. I'm really enjoying this show, by the way. And I know Dari's sitting around there smiling his head off. Okay, so what I'm going to say now are the benefits. Some of the benefits. Now, I need you to listen closely. Some of the benefits of empowering yourself, okay? Empowering yourself in a moment of hesitation can break bad habits. I'll say that again. Empowering yourself in the moments of hesitation can break bad habits. Like, for instance, I'm in bed. I know I have to get up. And sometimes, guys, the world can just not make you want to get out of bed. Sometimes life can just not make you want to get out of bed. And you don't even have to have the reasons why. Why don't you want to get up, Mom? I don't know. Well, life is not making you want to get up. People is not making you want to get up. Situations not working. And I've been there, guys. I've been there. When it does, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what that thing is that is just making my life so heavy that I can't even move or want to get out of bed or do anything when I know that people are relying on me. Life will do that to you if you're seeking purpose, if you're seeking a business or you're seeking anything. Life will do that to you. So here's the tip. By empowering yourself in that moment of hesitation. So that moment when I'm lying in the bed thinking, I'm presented with a choice. You see, it's easy not to do what I want to do, but it takes power to do what I need to do. To do the right thing, to do the wrong thing's easy. It doesn't take any power to do that. It doesn't take any. Remember what I said? It takes power and effort to get back up. So to get up, in that moment of hesitation, I draw on power to say, no, I've got to get up. So in that hesitation, just say no. My friend Ava Brown says, no is a complete sentence. Ava says no is a complete sentence. So when you say no, you see no, you see that, no, and then get up at the same time. That means you're breaking the habit. You're breaking what's holding you back. You're breaking what's keeping you in the bed. And if you consistently do that, you will produce a new habit. And it's one I've had to learn myself, guys. It's one I've had to learn myself, building the walk to freedom and doing what I'm doing. I've had people come at me left, right, and center, tell lies about me, talk about me. And the thing about it is I hear it all. I hear it all. And it brings me down. It makes me feel low. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. It makes me want to just close the windows and not talk to anybody. But it's that empowerment in the hesitation. When the alarm clock goes off, in that moment of hesitation, I push in, I push through, and I push through the day. My prayer is strength for the day, though my days are numbered. Repeat after me. Strength for the days, though my days are numbered. Strength for the days, though my days are numbered, okay? So moving on. So the next part is going to be empowering yourself. Enables you to draw on the truth and not on feelings. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Empowering yourself enables you to draw on the truth and not on feelings. Okay, because our feelings, they can fluctuate. Today I feel like it, tomorrow I won't. Today I feel like it, tomorrow I won't. But what happens is, You know, we do this with our clients. We teach them to take thoughts captive and bring them under submission. And in that, in that moment when they do that, it allows you to not act on how you feel. Forget how you feel. It allows you to act on the truth. Because the thing about life and society, it's taught us if it feels good, do it. If it feels good, you believe it. If it feels this, it feels that. So we've become a society that acts on how we feel, when that's wrong. That's wrong, because if you have no control over how you feel and your emotions, what happens is you become hypersensitive and your emotions control you, when we are the ones who are supposed to control our emotions so we can experience life. So when we learn to act on the truth, because the thing about the truth and why they can't, you may have heard the term calling it the cold hard truth. Now the reason why it's called the cold hard truth sometimes, if you heard that term, is because the truth doesn't start with a good feeling. It doesn't. It doesn't. But here's the benefit when you empower yourself, not on how you act on the feeling, but how you act on the truth. Okay, because if you think about it, look at most of the things that you've acted on when you've been feeling. What's been the outcome? Any good? I doubt it. Okay, unless you're acting on intuition, which is not a feeling, it is a sense. There's a difference. There's a big difference between emotional feelings and if you're a spiritual person, and a sensing, a knowing. There's a big difference. I'll go into that another time because that's one of my things as well. But when you act on the truth, guys, not how you feel. Like there were some days when I was in treatment, okay, and I used to lie there and I used to just want to leave treatment. I wanted to leave treatment, and then I used to have to be truthful with myself. I used to be like, you don't want to leave treatment because of the people. You don't want to leave treatment because the staff is getting on your nerves. You don't want to leave treatment, but you want to leave treatment to go and use again. And I had to act on that truth. And when I came to that truth, you know, you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free, my man JC said, okay? When I acted on that truth and realized it was something I didn't want to do, I acted on it. I act to take action, to act in motion, okay? So you got to be physical about this when you act on the truth. Get out of the bed, get to work, get fixed on your project, do the work that needs to do, kick procrastination in the teeth and say no, okay? So that's about acting on the truth and not how you feel. That's how you got to empower yourself. And believe me, guys, the more you do it, the less those days become. But they will happen. They will happen. It happens to the least of us and the greatest of us. We all have to admit, okay? But if we begin to get this principle in place, okay, empowering yourself helps you to regain focus. That's a major one. Empowering yourself helps you to regain focus, guys. It's essential. When you empower yourself and you get up out of that funk, that stinking thinking, okay, the empowerment actually draws you to your purpose. The empowerment actually draws you to your why. The empowerment actually draws you to the whole reason why you started this thing in the first place. So your empowerment allows you, when you're all over the place, to actually focus on what you need to do. Empowerment says, no, stop doing that. Do this, because this is the road you're supposed to go. Because the road can sometimes be very broad for us to easily give up. But hey, quitters quit and winners win. That's it. Okay? So when you don't quit, you win. Simple. So when you're empowering yourself, okay, it will allow you to regain focus. When you're sitting there, like my friend did, and actually said, no, at the end of the day, I'm not going to let that situation, I'm not going to let that happen, I'm not going to let that happen. What happens was when she was saying no, and she began to write down her affirmations, she began to write down the things she wants to do. Can you see what I'm doing here, guys? It allowed her to focus on her goal again. It allowed her to focus on her dreams again. It allowed her to focus on her health again. And please continue doing what you're doing, girlfriend, because you are possible. Okay, so it allows you to bring that focus. Another big one here, empowering yourself creates discipline. Create self-discipline. Without a shadow of a doubt, it creates self-discipline, guys. Because when you're empowering yourself, you're walking in truth. You're acting in truth, okay? then you are actually focused now, okay? Now you have now created synergy. That means the power you have is getting behind your focus. It's getting behind your discipline. It's getting behind everything that you're putting into that moment. It's getting even behind the hesitation to do the right thing. Do you see where I'm coming from, guys? So when you can constantly be able to do this, you start to recreate a new habit. Does that make sense, guys? When you begin to empower yourself by being disciplined, by acting on the truth and regaining focus in those moments, you're actually disciplining your mind. You're changing your mindset and you're giving yourself a new habit. And the more you begin to do this, the more you will become focused. And the more, if you're more focused, if you're more disciplined, if you are acting on the truth and not how you feel, again, guys, you become powerful beyond measure. So remember, I am of power. This power is behind the things you're doing, guys, yeah? Have we got that in your mind? You see, you have it all, guys. You have it all. You have it all. I'm telling you this from day one. Okay, so we're going into the second principle. So remember, we're talking about, we said about empowerment, what that actually means. Power, to empower, to give, or to get from, to be powerful. Okay, the ability to do it, the strength to do it, the mindset to do it. Okay, these are all the things you need to get through to be a success in life. So here's another principle that I believe, you know, needs to happen, because over the years that I've been working with people, I find that when we share this responsibility, okay, when we share it with each other, it allows us to become actually sort of committed to our own personal goals and dreams. So it's quite simple when it comes to empowering others. That's what we're going to touch on now. It's simple. Empower others to be greater than yourself. Now that's actually the litmus test paper to see who actually says they're selfless and to see who says they ain't. To say who says that they do encourage people and other people. Because if you have that mindset, it's simple to empower others than to be greater than yourself. I remember once, me and Marina, actually. Hi, Marina, if you're listening in. We were actually, she put up a post about something, and I can't remember what it was all about, but my reply was, she gave me a very good feedback. She said, you know, you've got to think about yourself sometimes. And my response to it was, when I made the post saying, you know, I want people to be greater than myself. This is what I meant. And I've written it down, okay? I want to empower people to not give up where I gave up. I want to empower others to not procrastinate when I procrastinated. I want to empower people to learn what I didn't learn. I want to empower people to act on truth when I acted on emotion. I want to teach people to not let the opinions of others bother them when I let them bother me. I empower people to not be held back by their past, like how I let my past hold me back. I want to empower people to not walk away when I did. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's empowering other people to take the lessons of your life and hopefully impart them onto others in a graceful way, not in an overpowering way. And the thing about empowering people as well, it allows them to see what they don't see about themselves, guys. It really helps people. And, you know, that can come with encouragement. You know, I remember when I was in treatment, and you used to have a guy that would just come in through the door, and he would see all of these people, you know, who were doing well in treatment, had been there a long time, had been there like me, supposed to be there 9 months, but was there 16 months, ended up becoming a volunteer, then a staff member, ended up me spending 5 years there, you know. And they would see all these guys, and I would always sit with these guys, and I would ask them this question. In this room right now, because we'd all be sat in the room, yeah? I would say, in this room right now, who's the most important person? Because that guy would already be thinking, oh, how can I do it? Look, I can't, I'm not you. I'm not going to get as far as you did. Look at you, you're doing all right, so forth, so. But I would ask them the question, who's the most important person in the room? And they would always point at me, because I'm so far along the line with my story, or they would point at everybody else in the room. And this is what I used to say to them, guys. I used to say, actually, you're the most important person in the room. You're the most important person. Because the thing about it is this. The next person who walks through that door, they're going to see what you saw. And they're going to need you, who's just through the door, to encourage them, to empower them that it's okay. Because you're at the beginning as well. You see, because when we go through addiction, we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to others. We can either do that in the early parts of addiction, where we turn around and say, oh, I'm not going to become that guy or that girl, and I'm not going to be ending up on a park bench, and then like 3 years later we have. Or we look at other people who are doing well and we compare ourselves to them, and we think that we can't make it like they did, which is wrong for us to compare. But I used to say to these guys who used to just come through the door, you're the most important person, because the next person that comes through that door, they're going to be talking to you, right? You're going to be their source of information. They're going to want to know what it's like for you because you've just come through the door. So don't compare yourself to anybody else, because you're just as important. And another time when I used to encourage people was when I used to, in treatment, and a lot of guys who will watch this who did treatment with me or staff members with me, hi guys, TC forever. I used to empower people when they wanted to leave treatment. You know, because remember I said like before, that thought always was, you know, justification, but the real reality was I wanted to leave when I wanted to use. And I used to be the guy who, when somebody wanted to leave, okay, even when I was on the program, even when I was still going through it myself, I would be the guy in the room empowering people to stay the course, empowering people to stay the journey, empowering people not to go. Because at the end of the day, I knew what was at the end of the road, and it was only going to lead to using. I remember one guy, and I'm going to say his name, Steve Pengelly. And I remember when I was desperately trying to empower this guy to stay, to give him all the reasons to stay, I said to him, do me a favor, I'll make a bet with you. I said, I bet you £200 that I'll either give you it if you make it, or I'll be buying your reef with it. And I said, please don't let me have to buy your reef. A few months later, word came back to the center that he had killed himself, or an accidental suicide. And sometimes, guys, what I'm trying to say here is sometimes, unless a person actually believes in themselves, empowerment is just like hitting up on an immune system. So you've got to be consistent when you're empowering people. Empower people when you don't think they need it. A simple text. You know, many of my friends know at odd mornings, my clients know at odd mornings, my friends at odd mornings, I would just sit there and give myself 10 minutes in the day where I'll just send out something personal, you know, encourage them, empower them to keep going, keep moving, you know, because sometimes you've got to throw the power in and get them to take in what we said. We receive it and then we use it. So when you're empowering people, it allows them to sometimes not see what's in themselves, but you're helping them to see it. Okay, guys? So that's the thing about it. So we've got empowering yourself and empowering others, all play vital principles. Now, finally, before we finish, I remember last week, some people asked me, well, what to do when you don't believe in yourself. And we're going to cover that another time. And I should have covered it then. But thank you for all your feedback that I got. And please keep them coming if you want me to talk about more things on this particular subject. But I've only got a little bit of time. But I have to get this one in. I have to get this one in. Are you ready? There will be days when you are the most disempowered person on the planet, no matter how good it is or how good you are in what you want to do. There will be days when your power system to get up and go is gone. It's dead. It's flat. I don't care who you are. And positive thinking ain't going to do it ever. You want to know why? Life and people, especially if they're both coming at you, will disempower you. How many times have we sat there and just been like, because life does not go, I'll give you a break. Like I say to people, life is not a Jackie Chan movie where you can have 2 hands and 2 feet and take on the world. No, life will come at you. Life will beat you up. Life will kick you down. Life will disempower you to the maximum. And I just want to tell you that, again, it takes effort on your behalf to get back up, because life will disempower you. People will disempower you. And with people, sometimes it's the closest people to you. Yes, your children. Yes, your family. Yes, your boss. Yes, yourself. Yeah, you can disempower yourself as well. Feed doubt. Feed fear. Yeah? Feed those 2 things and see how powerless you feel. Yeah? And we get powerless over things as well. Like we said with my addiction, you know, we get powerless over the things that are destructive of us because they meet some kind of need. You know, so a lot of things can be disempowering. But let's just talking about what it's going to take, okay, for you to get back up, okay? So I'm going to give you some simple steps to think on. Think on these things, yeah? My favorite book says, so a man thinks, so a man is, you know? And there's books out there that talk about the same thing that can't come to mind right now. But it's true. What you think is what you feel, and what you think and what you feel is what eventually you say or do, guys. So I just want to give you these power-ups, okay? These power-ups, okay? So remember this. Winners never quit. We find another way, okay? There will always be a way to power up. So power up. Thinking about what the future will bring. In that moment when you're feeling depleted, think on the future. Think of the hope. Think of the success. Think of the money. Think of the happiness. Think about what your success will bring, and it will power you up, okay? Power up by looking back on all your accomplishments, yeah, so far. You know, it's about the looking back that enables you to move forward. So power up by looking back on your small, you know, never despise the small beginnings. Look back on all the small things that you've done, all the small things you've accomplished, and they will become the big things at the end of the day. So power up by looking back. Does that make sense, guys? Power up by looking back only on the positive things. Remember, think on what is true. Think on what is right. Think on what is praiseworthy. Think on these things. So look back and think on the things that you've accomplished, you've done, where you've come from. You know, again, my friend, she done that. She looked back on how far she's come since her operation, how far she's come in her job world, how far she's done what she needs to do. And she's on the way because she powers up with her thinking, okay? So power up knowing that you're needed. Bottom line, everybody else has taken up the space of who they are. So power up, know that you're needed by your family. You're needed by your friends. You're needed by your purpose. You're needed by life to do what you need to do. Remember that. Power up by thinking that I have a purpose in life. I have something to do. If I am still alive, it means I have something to do. I still have a purpose to complete. So power up by thinking that you're needed. Power up by thinking that you're needed by your family. You're needed by your friends. You're needed by that person who needs to hear your story of your successes. So power up like that, guys. Here's a big one. Power up by knowing it's possible. Repeat after me. It's possible. My life is possible. My future is possible. My success is possible. Power up on those kind of things and get out of bed like I have to sometimes. These things will help you to power up, guys. Power up knowing it's possible to do so. I love that one. You are possible. I am possible. These are power up food for champions, yeah? Okay. Power up by saying to yourself that this time will pass and the better time will come. You know, we've got to remember that things happen in seasons. They all happen in seasons. You know, someone once said, you know, don't worry, good times won't last, and actually bad times won't either. So realize what you're going through. It's a season, but if you don't power up in that season, the season's going to become long. You know, my favorite book says, Sorrow may last for a night, but joy comes into the morning. Some of us, because we're putting our power into things that are deliberating us and tearing us apart and disempowering us, and they're not giving us anything back, makes our night time a damn long time, if you ask me. So you know what? Get that dark time out of your life and power up by realizing that the season you're going through, guys, I don't know who this is for, but the season you're going through has come to pass. I'm telling you that. This bad time has come to pass, and a good time will come. And power up knowing that as well. Power up knowing that this season will pass. Power up knowing that this bad season is here to show you the way. It's here to train you. It's here to mature you. It's here to grow you. This season has a benefit behind it if it's a bad one, yeah? So power up knowing that this season will pass. And simply, guys, power up by just simply saying, all that I'm going through is part of the journey. Power up that way. Power up knowing that this is just part of the journey. You see, all simple things we can do. And if we focus on these things, guys, if we focus, the disempowerment will gradually disappear. And believe me, it will enable change out of even depression. I'm telling you, when you power up this way, guys, it will change how you feel. I'm telling you. Thinking on what is right, thinking on what is praying for me. You know, my favorite book says, be not transformed to this world. You know, this world, this season that you're going through. Be not part of it, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you got to think on purpose. Power up in purpose. Empower on purpose. You've got to be a purposeful person. The other day I put on a post, I am built for purpose and I'm purposely built. Say that after me. I am built for purpose. And I am purposely built to empower myself, to empower others, that when disempowerment times comes, I have the power to bring it back. I'm going to get like He-Man. I have the power. Yes, you have the power, guys. I'm telling you, you have all the power you need. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for this time. I want to thank you for this moment where we have been empowering you today. Now go out there, tell the world that Mark, I Am Possible Clark has sent you to be empowered, to believe, to be who you are supposed to be and the success that you are. And don't let anybody tell you any different. Goodbye, guys. I'll see you next week. What time next week? We're going for the B.E.L.I.E.V.E next week. We're going for I next week, and that's going to be a special show. And I really hope you can join me. Do catch me on Facebook, Twitter, all the rest of it. I can't remember the addresses because I'm so focused on you, because I'm empowered right now. Why? Because I'm happy. I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy to share with you. I'm happy to empower you. I'm happy to give you something to empower yourself, because I'm not going to be there in the morning, okay, guys? So once again, thank you and goodbye. Thank you to Radio W.O.R.K.S for allowing me to come on your station and have this moment with you. And guys, please text me. Please get back to me if you want some more. Take care and have a great and possible week.